In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to work out the perfect Google Ads optimization strategy for your e-commerce brand so you know exactly when to optimize, how to optimize, and what to optimize. Because the reality is the brands that have been able to scale past $10 million last year in 2022 all was due to a result of the optimization phases and strategy that I implemented with the brands. So let's start off by talking about exactly when is the right time to optimize and what your main strategy for your e-commerce brand should be during this process. So one thing I used to recommend a lot in my previous YouTube videos was you need to optimize every 7 days or every 14 days, and you want to kind of leave it within that time range. However, in 2023 and onwards, things have changed. I no longer just decide when to optimize based on a given set time period like that one, because I realized a few things. Number one, this kind of time period does no justice to the brand spending $1,000 a day, $5,000, $10,000 a day, simply because if you wait 7 days to optimize a brand that spends $10,000 a day, well, in that case, you spent $70,000 while waiting to optimize, and it doesn't really make sense. On the other hand, if you spend $10 a day, $20 a day, and you don't wait 7 days, then you would be making optimizations based off of $30 worth of data or $40 worth of data, which, as we know, in 2022, 2023, is not enough. So my strategy in 2023 has started to become more based on the ad budget of that giving ad account. And again, I run a Google Ads agency called Euro Marketing, which deals with a lot of e-commerce brands on a daily basis. We handle a lot of different clients. We handle a lot of different Google Ads for different brands. So every optimization period is different. As you see here right on my screen, this is one ad account where within this month alone, we spent only about 1,500 New Zealand dollars. That's about $1,000 or so. Not a lot of ad spend at all, but that's just the case of this ad account and this e-commerce brand, but it's still running at a 6x ROAS, so it's doing fairly well. On the other hand, we have another ad account which runs in the UK only, or at least on track to spend £700 a day. That's about $800 to $1,000 every single day. So far, they've spent £6,300, and their overall ROAS is at a 5.94x. So what I'm trying to get at with this is it does not make sense to optimize this ad account that's only spent about $1,000 at the same frequency or the same period level as this one, which has already spent about 7 times more than that ad account. And the strategy is very simple. If your ad account spends $100 per day or less, keep the ad account frequency of optimization at around every 7 to 14 days. So this means you can optimize after 7 days have passed, after 10 days have passed, or even after 14 days have passed, but don't go more than 14 days and don't go less than 7 if you spend $100 a day or less within each individual campaign. So for example, if this top performance max campaign I optimized about 7 days ago and the budget for the entire ad account, not just that campaign alone, is about $70 a day, $80 a day in total, I would probably optimize this performance max campaign today or tomorrow, since already 7 days have passed. But that's the general kind of strategy for all the ad accounts spending $100 a day or less. Now moving on to the next kind of level, $100 a day ad spend to $500 a day. You want to now begin optimizing every 5 to 7 days, because this means you have a lot more data coming in a shorter period of time, and it makes sense to optimize to prevent any type of ad spend loss or any type of profitability loss. So this ad account, it doesn't even qualify in that, but if it were to be at around £400 a day ad spend, £300 a day ad spend, I would optimize every given individual campaign every 5 to 7 days, no less or no more. But this brings us to the final kind of range as to when you should optimize. This is for all the ad accounts spending over $500 every single day, which this ad account falls under, even though it's not necessarily spending $500 because it's not spending the full budget every single day. It's still on track to spend more than $500 because that's what the total budget is. So I would optimize this campaign or this ad account every 4 to 7 days. And this means every campaign right here based on their budget, again, if it was maybe 10 pounds a day, I would probably not touch it for 7 days or so, even the 50 pound a day campaign. But every other campaign, I would probably optimize every 4 to 7 days. Campaigns that are on the lower end of the spectrum, so this one with only 100 pounds ad spend, I would optimize every 7 days. This one I would probably optimize every 4 days or so, every 5 days potentially, because it's spending over $500 every single day. That covers our first step as to when to optimize. Let's move on to how to optimize. What do you do to optimize? What is considered optimization? So I'm not gonna exactly talk about the nitty-gritty details in this scenario because I've already covered a lot of videos you can check out on my channel. Even though I released these videos last year, they still apply today as to what to optimize in terms of what to exclude, how to exclude, so on and so forth. In this video, I want to talk more about the strategy of how to optimize. So in essence, every single ad account I optimize, it's based off of certain KPIs. And this is the KPIs that I look at, the list of KPIs in the order of importance. Number one KPI I look at is the ROAS. Number two is the cost per purchase. Obviously, I want to know what my cost over conversion is. Number three, I'm looking at the search impression share, believe it or not, because this number has a lot of importance to it. It can tell you whether you're getting decent amount of search impressions within the market total, like this one right here, or you're barely getting any eyeballs on your ads compared to what's available in the market. Fourth kind of metric I look at is the click share. So again, this tells me out of all of the eyeballs that are looking at my ads, how many are actually clicking. If this number is very low, that means there's some kind of issue going on. If it's too high, like this one, then it means I'm on a good track basically. But the next kind of KPI I look at is the CPC, which is the average cost per link click. I want to make sure this is not way above the board, like this one right here, as you can see, because it's £1.30. It's the ROAS is at a 1.82x, whereas the profitable campaign at a 4x ROAS or a 9x ROAS, the CPCs are much more in control. So this kind of gives us a general idea of how to optimize, whether I'm losing search impressions and as a result my search loss IS rank is high and I'm bidding higher, or whether it's just my CTR, which is the last metric I look at by the way, which is causing this high of a CPC. Because the lower the CTR, the higher the CPC. That means you need to improve your shopping ad. That means you need to improve the ad copy of your search ad. So that's essentially what I'm looking at as to how to optimize, and then it's just a matter of excluding the bad campaigns, whatever is not hitting those metrics. So for example, since this is not really above our break-even is around a 3x to a 4x, then I would potentially shut it off, or because it's a search campaign, I would look at my CTR and potentially try to improve it with better ad copies. Those are basically ways I can optimize the campaign and how to optimize it further. And then there's also other types of campaigns I have running here, like display campaigns, branded search campaigns right here, Performance Max. How to optimize, it's very simple. Again, excluding the bad products for these campaigns. So for example, if I go inside this PMAX campaign, I look at the product section. The way that I'm optimizing this campaign is by first of all looking at last 14 days worth of data and then last 30, and then seeing what is profitable and getting me good sales and what is not profitable. So this is profitable, that's good, but maybe this is not so much profitable and maybe I want to exclude this, or maybe work on the CTRs, but we already see the CTR is on the higher level, so potentially improve the pricing. This is essentially the thought process I'm going to when I'm deciding how to optimize. Nothing too crazy. I'm looking at the same metrics I mentioned earlier within the campaign level as well, and I'm optimizing not only on the campaign side but also on the back end side. So one good way to optimize is looking at the inside section, looking at some keywords which are popping up, and whatever is getting you sales, just include it within the product titles, product descriptions, optimize it further, so on and so forth. But this brings us to the final point of this video, which is what to optimize. What do you even optimize in the first place? So like I was saying, you optimize the campaigns on not only on the campaign level, so within the campaign, but also on a very broad level. So on the campaign overview section, in terms of what to optimize, you can optimize based on maybe shutting off a bad campaign that's not hitting the target ROAS, or maybe considering improving the budget because it's spending too little and it has this message limited by budget, especially if it's doing well. But there are three different things I optimize when it comes to the what to optimize section. Number one, I'm optimizing individual products and SKUs, meaning the back end, the merchant center, improving titles, improving descriptions, testing out different shopping ad images, testing out different prices. That's what I'm optimizing. Number two, I'm optimizing the campaigns. Pretty self-explanatory in terms of the settings for the campaigns. I'm either optimizing the budget, I'm optimizing the target ROAS if it's a PMAX campaign or running on smart bidding. I'm optimizing the average CPC if it's a standard shopping or search campaign, or I'm just optimizing based off of the countries that I'm targeting, the devices, maybe it's mobile versus desktop, so on and so forth. So very straightforward, nothing crazy in terms of optimizing the campaigns. The third one is optimizing the back end using the data. So getting those reviews established, getting a better landing page based off of the results you're getting off of the front end, meaning the ad side of things. So for instance, if my conversion rate is pretty low here, what I would do is I would potentially think about improving the back end with the landing page. So maybe I have like a custom landing page builder, or maybe improve my color scheme, so on and so forth. So I'm using Google Ads campaigns and the data I'm getting from Google to do all of these things in the back end. So to summarize, there's 3 different ways you can go about this in terms of when to optimize, how to optimize, and what to optimize. It all depends on, number 1, the ad spend you are doing on a daily basis. Number 2, the metrics you're looking at and what those metrics are telling you. And then number 3, in terms of what to optimize, using those metrics to help you make calculated decisions. That's all I'm doing, regardless of the e-commerce brand I'm working with, regardless of how much it's spending on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But if you're currently doing $40,000 or more per month in revenue with your e-commerce brand and you need some extra help with Google Ads to take your e-commerce journey to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com and book a free call with me to see how we can potentially work together and make that happen. But watch any of these 2 videos right in front of my face to take your journey to the next level.